This is a great shot. Suddenly you look like the radio Bible answer man.
I was just thinking about the Bible answer man yesterday for some reason as I was leaving work. Why was I thinking about that? Remember that show? I listened to that a ton when I was a new Christian.
Uh-huh.
That and the Haven of Rest. I've anchored my soul in the haven of rest. Ding, ding. Remember it starts out, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Was that wasn't Dr. J. Vernon McGee.
No, that's J. Vernon McGee was Bibles.
Through the Bible.
Through the Bible.
Through the Bible with Dr. J. Vernon McGee.
Book of Numbers.
Okay, well, welcome, friends. You just dropped into the studio here. John Eldredge, Craig McConnell. Welcome to the Ransomed Heart podcast. And welcome back. If you are a regular listener, you've been following us through a Love and War series. Stacy and I wrote a book on marriage called Love and War, and then we went on tour. And the last several podcasts, we've been sharing with you some of the dialogue, the Q&A from the tour. But I think our single friends are probably ready for something else at this point. Hopefully our single friends have stuck with us, or you can tell your single friends, tune back in. We would love for you to spread the word as well on the podcast. Great way to introduce people to Ransomed Heart, our perspective, our experience with God here, the healing and the life that we offer through Christ in this ministry. So welcome. We're going to go a completely different direction now. So we kind of hope you enjoyed the series on marriage, but time to move on to other things.
Yeah.
Craig, what's on your heart today?
Well, I think all of us, in our personal relationships with other people, and we're trying to reach out, minister, encourage, so often a friend or someone we know, something will surface, and something in our hearts is prompted to go after that. We want to encourage them. We want to bring them closer to Christ. And my experience often in meeting and talking with people is that it's kind of this give and take of, I'll use a recent example. Fella comes in, he's just foggy and just kind of lost, disoriented, feeling a lot of shame and contempt over himself. And one category is warfare, where you just know the enemy is at work here. And over the course of several meeting times together, I just find myself moving kind of back and forth from warfare and surfacing beliefs and agreements and wounds and styles of relating. And I was just curious in your experience in working with people, is that how it plays out for you, or some thoughts for us on how do we go deep into someone's heart and soul in a way that really brings change and is addressing the true issues? Because I know that there's no point counseling someone if what's really involved is a demon, and yet there's things that aren't demons that only counsel can touch. And it's just that I'm thinking I'm not alone at times wondering, is this something to pursue? Is this something to rebuke?
Right. That's so good. And just not only in other people's lives, but in our own life. You know, I'm struggling with discouragement, Lord. I'm raging, wrestling with envy and hatred towards someone. What do I do with that? Where is this rooted? How do I get past this? And friends, as you're listening in, a lot of what we talk about at Ransomed Heart is the path of transformation, the journey towards restoration. We believe the gospel is a gospel of restoration, and that the mission of Christ, and therefore the mission of love, the mission of church, friendship, parenting, is the same. It's the restoration of mankind. It's seeing a man or a woman restored. And so crucial categories. And you see Christ do both. Some people, he seems to directly deal with the presence of Satan in their life, and at other times it seems to be counseling, words that they need, a touch. There's that fascinating interaction with Peter after the resurrection, where, remember, he asked him 3 times, do you love me? And he's dealing with something there, and it was Peter's 3 betrayals, right? So he's got to take him back into that and 3 times go after it. But here's what comes to mind as you were asking that, and we don't rehearse any of this, friends. We just kind of come in and talk about what we're learning and where God's teaching us. So as Craig was talking about that question, hey, I'm meeting with a guy, I find myself vacillating between, is this counseling? Is this warfare? Ephesians 4, again, came to mind. Paul, in Ephesians 4, saying, in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. The warfare almost always works because it finds some hold on us. Now, the hold can be sin, and that's how Adam gave the whole earth away, right? That Satan was not intended to be the prince of this earth. He became the prince of the earth because Adam, who was the prince of the earth, folded through sin. So sometimes it's just, if you're indulging in a particular sin, then you're going to also find that that's really difficult to get freedom there because the enemy's then all over it. And you're going to need to deal with both the holiness issues, but you're also going to need to deal with the warfare. But that's not what Paul's talking about here. He's talking about a different dynamic, and I think it's unresolved personal issues, emotional issues, things that we would put in a counseling category that when those things go unresolved and we sort of bury them, that's the idea of letting the sun go down on it, or letting, 365 suns go down on it.
Or 10 years.
Yeah. 3,650 suns down on it. You bet that gives the enemy an opportunity, So I think that I almost always deal with the warfare first for 2 reasons. One, because if it's present, it usually is a lot quicker to deal with than counseling issues. So let's get it out of the way so that then we can deal with the holiness or the counseling things, And I also tend to deal with it first because if it is there, trying to go after the counseling things, I've just seen so many people they're just going around the mountain. I mean, what was the expression you were using from your life? It's like one more time around in the wilderness. We're just doing laps,
God says to Moses, it's time to stop going around this mountain.
The whole tribe of Israel just marching around this mountain.
You mean there's an
years.
option?
Yeah.
We don't have to keep going around this mountain?
I just think breakthrough and transformation is one of the deepest yearnings of our lives. And so learning to kind of detect this, learning to detect it. And I'll tell you what has been extraordinarily helpful for me when it's someone else. Let's start with someone else because it's a lot easier when it isn't your own stuff.
Right.
Notice what you feel in their presence. Notice what you feel 20 minutes before they come over. If you're having friends over for dinner or you're about to go visit your parents or maybe in a little bit more of a formal setting of discipleship or counseling, you have an appointment with someone, notice what you are experiencing. Because 9 times out of 10, it's their warfare making an advance swipe at you to take you out so that you can't help them. I cannot tell you how helpful this category is. Because I think as good people, what we tend to do is assume everything we're under is ours. I'm the schlep. I'm the idiot. I'm the one who's under a fog today, or suddenly I'm the one wrestling with lustful thoughts. But a classic example is if you're trying to help someone with sexual struggles, you're going to experience that before they get there, before they come over, sometimes a day ahead. Sexual struggles will present themselves to you because the enemy's hoping to either discourage you. Look at me, I'm so unholy, I have no right to be helping this person. Let's talk about spring vacation or something else, and you don't even bring it up because you feel like such the schlep, Or you make an agreement with it, you fall, and then the enemy's got you so pounded that you're not in a place to help them.
Yeah. You know where I experience that a lot, John, is someone comes in with some angst and just life's hard. This is a tough season. Yes. God is silent. Right. All of that. And I get sucked into, I forget about resurrection, major theme. Right. Christ is present.
Right.
And it's like they leave and I go, whoa, where was God in that?
Yeah.
So that...
A couple hours later, you're suddenly back to yourself.
Yeah, but it's something they're under that kind of jumps off them and lands on me.
Friends, I cannot tell you or emphasize or shout into the microphone, enough that this is such a helpful category. Mm-hmm. Just simply the idea of this isn't mine. This is theirs. And the reason why it's helpful twofold. One, bingo, you've got a diagnosis. Mm-hmm. If you're getting slammed with discouragement, depression, well, guess what they're under? Guess what the spirit is that's there? You've just identified their warfare. So diagnostically, it's hugely helpful. You're like, man, I know what this person's struggling with. I just tasted it. So now I know how to pray with them. And also, just helpful as a category of realizing I'm not going to make agreements with this. This isn't even mine. This isn't even my battle. This is theirs, because it can feel so discouraging of, oh, no, now this, in addition to everything else I'm wrestling with. Yeah. I think that something that's also true about just the journey towards personal transformation is if there are places in us that need the counseling, the encouragement, the conversation, the uncovering of deeper issues, the warfare won't stay away.
Right.
See, and that's why it's so important to also go there.
Yeah.
It's not just the quick, okay, we know it's discouragement because I was getting hammered with that before you came over. So, we stand together in the name of Jesus Christ, and this person that you're with probably needs to break agreements with discouragement, and then the two of you pray against it and bind it, send it to the feet of Jesus Christ for judgment. But then there's a reason it was there, and that's the other side of Paul's verse here, right? That there were issues that we let the sun go down on that gave this foothold, and then he's saying, please, keep a short account, deal with those issues,
just as we're talking about this, so to really engage in someone's life, to do it lovingly, patiently, kindly, in truth, you're also standing up against some pretty serious things, whether it's warfare or deep wounds and messages, and there's a bit of almost a sense of I'm confronting something here, whether outwardly that you see that or feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
huge.
Yeah, I'm just struck by I'm going to stand up against either the warfare or the lies or wounds or something here.
Yeah, it's what it means to love. And I'm thinking of that passage. I think it's in Jeremiah. God is pretty upset with his prophets, and he says, you are treating the wound of my people as though it were not serious. He's mad about that.
Yes.
These superficial remedies that are so common in Christendom, just encouragement, pep talks, or, depending on the church or kind of the camp that you're in, discipline, Hey, brother, you just need to buckle down. You're not reading your Bible enough and saying your prayers, and you haven't been faithful at Wednesday night service as well. And those superficial remedies to deeper problems really tick God off because that's not loving. It's not helpful. And I think that is back to that simple test of, is it helpful? Does it work? You shall know them by their fruit. If you're just going around the mountain here, then you got the wrong remedy, Yeah.
One other thought, John. Love your observations here. One of the tensions I personally live with is I think it's good to be a self-reflective person, but oh my gosh, is that a hole you can fall into, in terms of just trying to analyze and reflect on everything and just get sucked into pretty quickly shame, contempt, condemnation. And I just, in working with folks, you want to encourage them to be self-reflective, but not obsessing on
Absolutely.
the minor theme of their brokenness, their sin.
How do you get out of that?
How do I get out of it?
Personally.
Well, it takes me bouncing off the bottom. I realize that the fruit, the experience of my reflecting too much is shame, contempt. I just shut down. I mean, I move away from grace and God into usually I'm going to try harder. I have to do something about this. Something along those lines.
Misery.
It's a good word.
In other words.
It's a good word. The M word.
What did Norman MacLean say? 2 things are necessary for our salvation: agony and hilarity. They'll both eventually get you there. It's the agony of it. I can't take it anymore. God, have mercy, You know what? Let's pick this up next time. I want to chase something else in regards to this as well. So, friends, thank you for joining us at the Ransomed Heart Podcast. For more, we invite you to come to our new website at ransomedheart.com and tap into all of the great stuff that we've got going on there.